three. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Everybody, welcome to a great edition of Teaching Crypto. When we said things were imminent in terms of Bitcoin, we really meant it. AZcrypto here with MrFOMO. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, bell notification, super sets in store available. You want to definitely hit subscribe and share the show. You don't want to miss this because we are officially in a bull run, MrFOMO. From 50 to 54, we even challenged 55. And like we said on the show, Bitcoin was coiling up. We were right, and this is only the beginning.
Yeah, and we talked about it yesterday. We talked about some of the step patterns in the altcoins. We talked about how much time it had been at this level building up strength. We talked about all of that yesterday, and we said it was about to happen, and it did. We told you so. I hope you listened. I hope you snapped up that Bitcoin at the last minute there and got a little bit of profits out of it, or you were able to trade on it a little bit today. But I hope everybody's in the green, and I hope everybody is on their way back to recovery for those of us in the Voyager, FTX, Celsius debacles. And for those of you who are new, or for those of you who never got involved in that stuff, I hope you're on your way to your Lambo.
Yeah, and this is exciting times because we're still a little under 2 months before the halving. And like I said, I really anticipate a 60K Bitcoin in March. And I think, I was thinking we would, possibly challenge 70K. We may go over that. It really depends. Nothing is a straight line. Remember, there's always going to be some retraces. But even today, I saw some people trying to be a contrarian and say, oh, well, what if it goes back to 28? Will you still buy? Guys, it's not going to 28. In fact, Michael Saylor just bought 3,000 Bitcoins in a 15-day period over 50. He knew something, right? His average a little over 51. What amazing timing, huh?
He must watch the show,
I think so.
One of those just under 2,000.
We got to get him on and look at this chart right now here on the daily. Beautiful chart, all that green. But tell our viewers why the Michael Saylor buy is so significant, right? He bought 3,000 Bitcoins, not $3,000 worth of Bitcoin, 3,000 Bitcoins. Why is that significant?
It locks up those Bitcoin, right? Like, he's not a guy who plans on moving that around too much, at least is not as far as he's been publicly saying. And so, one, it locks those up, but two, it raises his low or his average of purchased Bitcoin to like 31K or something like that, I think he said. And that lets you know that he feels comfortable at that average price. He feels comfortable with that as a floor price for him. He doesn't think he's going to be in the red even at an average purchase price of 31. And so when you see the smart money coming in and making huge purchases like that, but not only huge purchases in Bitcoin, but huge purchases at these levels above 50,000, that shows you that he's got tons of confidence in this asset. And judging by his history, he's had a pretty good track record. And so if you're following the smart money, that's definitely one of the people that you want to pay attention to.
And that's 155 worth of Bitcoin that's not being sold anytime in the near future, especially in this run. The 90K by December that we've talked about looks amazing right now. Let's keep it up. Remember, be careful out there. If you're new, leveraging can be very, very, very dangerous. And so we might, I anticipate we almost hit 55. There's resistance. We might see some greed over the next day or two and get some people liquidated, unfortunately, before we make our next run up. And there's plenty of time. We haven't even hit April yet. It's only the 26th, and it's a leap year, so we got an extra day in February. So my 60K, I mean, we're going to hit that easily, no doubt in my mind, for the month of March. And what you're going to see next is some of the alts run big time. We're seeing ETH right now. ETH has actually outperformed Bitcoin over the past 3 weeks, believe it or not. ETH looking strong, MrFOMO. that ETF news event, which is scheduled for May 23rd, a month after the halving, that is just creating a lot of steam in the market right now between the Bitcoin halving and the ETH ETF. We love to see what's going on right now.
And then before that, you had the Bitcoin ETF, and I think that those ETF, not just the one that passed, but you mentioned the ETH ETF upcoming, those are really driving the market. And I want to caution people because, during the last bull run, we had what they called quantitative easing, where the central bank was printing money, just tons of money, in order to keep up with what was going on. And while that was happening, assets were on the rise and people were using their extra cash or whatever they had to put into assets. And I think that we should probably maybe be a little bit skeptical of this, or at least taper our expectations a little, or tailor our expectations a little bit, and expect that this may not be exactly the same as last time. And so be cautious with this, and also pay attention to the charts. This isn't something that you can just buy and then set and forget, like your fantasy football lineup. This is something that you need to be on top of. Maybe not
You got
your
to keep it here. You got to
purchases,
keep it. You
but
got to
for
watch
all
the show.
purchases especially, because you don't know what's going to happen in this bull run. We know that Bitcoin's on the rise. We know that it's happening pretty quickly right now, but anything could happen. And so you don't want to get caught up in this idea. And I know we mentioned this over and over again, but you don't want to get caught up in this hodl. It doesn't make you a tough guy or a tough girl to diamond hand your investment. As a matter of fact, it makes you kind of the opposite. It's the tough people that go in and they trade based on their research and based on their knowledge, and they trade knowing that they might be wrong, but they have a pretty good idea of where they're at. And so I feel like we shouldn't just focus on the idea that it's going to go up and up and up and up and up. We
No.
pay attention to the idea that there is going to be these lulls in the market, and that there are going to be times to sell. And so I before we get too crazy with we sort of tongue in cheek talk about Lambos and stuff like that. Before we get too crazy with that, I just want people to know that look at that chart in front of you, that VeChain chart, and look at all of those ups and downs in that. There are going to be those times. So steel your stomach. And if you have the stomach for it, start to trade on your knowledge, start to trade when we talk about some of these things. And you're going to see that you're going to come out a lot better off than if you just hodl or diamond hand, or whatever the latest YouTuber is calling it, because don't buy into that tough guy mentality. Buy into the idea that you have the knowledge and that you're acquiring the knowledge that will be helpful in trading.
So I want to bring attention right now, by the way, we don't have it up. I love Chainlink coiling at 19. I think that could get to 28 in the next couple months pretty easily. But VeChain here, I love it. The volume is up, and it looks like you're buying fairly high, but again, you always want to zoom out. If we're talking about the cycle, well below the all-time highs here. So you're okay. Monthly, though, looks amazing. You can see this one. Yearly also looks amazing. But I do want to talk about this one because I'm going to make another outlandish prediction. By the way, Solana at 200 in early April. I'm sticking to that. End of March, early April. I'm going to stick to that. We'll see how I do. I think VeChain could hit 8 cents. Listen to this, by May 1st or right before. So I really like this one. Again,
We'll go back to that 30-day.
Absolutely.
And we'll see if we can build some support for that. Now look at that long coil up that you had before that. What was that price at there?
Oh, below 3 cents.
So below 3 cents to over 5 cents. So easily I could see this, especially with the little bit of a coil up that you're seeing here. The fact that this is linked to the Asian markets, and the Asian markets are really starting to embrace digital assets again in this bull run. And Japan is allowing their TradFi institutions to get into Bitcoin and to crypto. And so you're going to see these coins in particular, VeChain, Jasmy, that we talked about a couple weeks ago or a week ago, you're going to see those coins really perform well, I think, through this bull run.
And honestly, I think Bitcoin and ETH are going to steal the show for a while, but there is still room for the alts to run. I do think, in terms of massive runs for the alts, to be honest, where things can go crazy and just do a 2x overnight, that might not happen often until this fall. We'll see. But I do like VeChain here. I loved it at 4.5. I still like it at 5. Again, watch Chainlink right now at 19. It's been around that 19-20 area for a while. It's been coiling. It's due for a nice little pump as well. And not to mention, Solana and Muse and all the other ones we've talked about. Jasmy's retracing a little bit, a lot of options. Unfortunately, we don't have the capital to buy every single one of these projects. Otherwise, we could have made this our full-time job, but we're trying to make it just like you guys. So please share the show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. For Mr. FOMO, this is AZcrypto. You guys have a wonderful evening.
See you.